upon a time, there was a bright red engine named James. He was a splendid engine and was puffing happily down the track. It was holiday time and he was pulling a train full of toys for children who lived in a town far over on the other side of the big mountain. He puffed and puffed down the rails with his train rattling behind him. His cars were full of wonderful things for all the good little boys and girls. There were plush zoo animals and stuffed teddy bears, cute little toy ponies with colorful manes and accessories, Hot Wheels cars with mini racetracks, adorable Lalaloopsy dolls with button eyes, Lego sets with minifigures. James was happy to be pulling such a wonderful load. He blew his whistle and continued on down the track towards the big mountain. But just as all seemed well, right near the foot of the mountain, there was a loud clank and then a loud clunk. James found himself going slower and slower and slower, until he came to a final halt. He tried to go on, but he could not move. James realized what had just happened. He had broken down. He tried again, but to no avail. All he could do was let out a sad whoosh of steam. All the toys climbed out of the train cars and ran over to James to see what was wrong. "What happened?" they asked. "I just can't seem to go any further," replied James. "I feel so weak." "But we must make it over the big mountain to the town," said the toys. "It's almost Christmas and we need to get there soon before the children awake." "I'm sorry," said James, "but I don't seem to have the strength to go on." Just then a big strong engine came puffing down another track. It was Gordon. "Maybe he can help us," said one of the toys. They waved a red flag and Gordon started to slow down. Once he came to a stop, the dolls and toys called out to him. "Could you please pull our train over the big mountain?" they said. "Our engine has broken down and our train is loaded with toys and presents for all the children who live in the town on the other side." Gordon wasn't very friendly. "You want me to pull you?" he asked. "That is ridiculous. I'm an express engine. I pull passenger trains and carry people over the mountain. I'm way too important to pull such a train like yours." And Gordon puffed away back to the sheds, leaving James and the toys helpless. James and all the toys sighed. What were they going to do? "Perhaps another engine will come along to help us," said one of the dolls. Soon another engine did come along. He was a big strong engine just like Gordon. He had bright green paint and had a wonderful shape. "It's Henry," exclaimed James. The toys ran over to flag him down. When Henry saw James and the toys, he slowed down to a stop. "What's going on?" he asked. "Our engine has broken down and our train is loaded with toys and presents for all the children who live in the town on the other side of the big mountain. Could you please pull our train?" asked the toys. Henry was more friendly than Gordon. But what he said to the toys wasn't what they expected to hear. "I couldn't possibly pull your train," he said in a stern voice. "I'm much too busy with other work. I've been pulling freight trains all day long. And I've just finished pulling one over the mountain. Now I have to go back to the train yard and do more work. I simply don't have the time to help you with your predicament." And with that, Henry puffed away back to the sheds. Once again, James and the toys sighed. "What if another engine doesn't come?" said one of the dolls. "We can't give up," replied one of the Lego figures. "I'm sure another engine will come along and be willing to help us get over the mountain." "I hope you're right," said James. Soon another engine did come along. It was Edward, the old-fashioned engine. He was puffing slowly down the line towards James and his train. The toys flagged him down. Edward saw them and steamed to a stop. "What's wrong?" asked Edward. I was going to pull this train full of toys over the mountain to the village, replied James. But I've broken down and can't pull the train any further. We need to get over the mountain before the children awake, said the toys. Could you please take us over the mountain, Edward? We really need your help. Edward looked at James and the toys. He smiled at them. I would love to help you, he said. The toys were about to jump for joy. But just then Edward sighed. But unfortunately I can't. Why? asked James. I'm too tired and don't have the strength to pull your train over the mountain right now, replied Edward. I've been working all day long and I'm almost completely out of puff. I'm very sorry. You'll have to flag down another engine. And so Edward puffed slowly back to the sheds. James and the toys waited and waited for what seemed like forever. They continued to wait. But there was no engine in sight. Finally, the toys seemed to give up hope. Let's face it, said one of the dolls. There aren't any engines. We'll never make it over the mountain before Christmas now. All the boys and girls will never get their presents. James let out a deep sigh. I'm very sorry, he said to the toys. The toys were just about to cry when they heard a whistle. James knew who it was. It was Thomas the tank engine. As he went down the line, he saw James and all the toys looking very sad. Soon he came to a stop. What's the matter, my friends? he asked. We need to get over the mountain, said the toys. James was pulling our train, but he was broken down and can't pull us any further. It's true, said James. I don't have the strength to go on. We tried asking another engine for help. Gordon, Henry, and Edward passed by, but neither of them would help us. Thomas was very surprised. Could you please pull our train over the mountain? asked the toys. We need to get the town on the other side before the children awake on Christmas Day. Thomas was eager to help, but he wasn't sure. I'm not a very big engine and I don't think I have the strength to pull your train over that really big mountain. Thomas looked down at the helpless toys and saw the tears in their poor eyes. He realized that he may be their only hope, but he still wasn't sure. He thought about all the little boys and girls in town. He didn't want them wake up on Christmas with any toys or presents. Just then he remembered something important when he first came to the railway. Little engines can do big things. At that moment he told the toys, I think I can do it. All the toys smiled at the little blue tank engine. He coupled himself up to the train as the toys climbed back into their cars. Thomas began puffing down the track with the train cars rattling and the toys cheering. Soon they approached the track up the mountain. As he started his way up the mountain, he started saying, I think I can.
Just because we're small doesn't mean we don't stand tall. And pull our weight like all the others do. You'll be surprised, in spite of our size, just what little engines can do. Little engines
At last he reached the very top of the mountain. Thomas blew his whistle long and loud. Then he cried out, "I knew I could." He looked down far below. In the far distance, he could see the town where all the little boys and girls lived. The land around the town was covered with ice and snow. Thomas then started down the mountain and continued to say, "I knew I could. I knew I could."